Another question that has just popped in my mind. So, why do miners need GPS?
So do you know how GPS get your location? How GPS know your location?
To be honest, I don't. I just.
Okay, now I can answer you. So the GPS get your location because they can get the timestamp from the satellite. You know the satellite, the radio transfer at the speed of light, right? Radio is light, is kind of is the same speed as light. So as long as there is clock in the satellite above us, like in the sky, and the GPS is broadcasting the time, just like you are listening to a radio, like someone is constantly telling you what time is now, what time is now, what time is now. And your receiver actually get the signal from multiple GPS satellites because there are many satellites on the sky. So because the distance between you and every satellite will be different, so the time you receive the signal would be different. So your receiver will calculate the time differences when it receives the signal from different satellites. So they can calculate the distance between you and all of the satellites. And based on a complicated computation, the receiver will calculate the exact location of your receiver right now. That is how GPS get your location. In order to get that, the GPS has to have a very accurate clock. We use atomic clock in the GPS satellite. So that's why this is probably the only cheapest way you can get the accurate time if you're living on the Earth.
I asked about GPS because, to be honest, I had no clue. So when I was reading the guides, I could understand everything, but I just couldn't make sense. Why GPS? I was just trying to make it, know.
No, you are not alone. Many people, even they use GPS every day, they have no clue how the GPS telling me where I'm located. They don't know how. What is the relationship between the GPS location and the time? Most people don't know.
I've spoken to one of they asked, so GPS is needed for mining. I said, yes, it is needed. And they asked, but if we need a GPS, so it means that the layer 2 is more centralized if it has our location and time data?
First, we don't really care your location. It's not, other projects, they require your geolocation for the mining purpose. For example, helium, because they want your device to be distributed evenly in the geographic wise. This is not what we need. We don't really need your location. We only need the time. So first, you do not disclose your location. We don't really care. Second is, so even if you are in not like a helium, even you have every computer in the same location, same building. If for helium, if you don't cheat, the helium will lower down your income because you didn't distribute it. You are still in the same location. But for us, we don't really care because location is not the most important thing for us. But we do care your different machine. You have the time. As long as you have a time, that will be okay. So there is a chance that if in a data center, like many computers do not have like the window, they cannot have the antenna to facing the window to the sky. In that case, there is still a solution. Technically, we call it PTP. It's a protocol, but it's too technical. You only know there is some solution. All the computer in the same data center can share one GPS. It is possible.
Okay.
But that will be in the future. It's not something we're gonna do it today.
Of course, but this is also relevant to know.
And also another thing is I was asked it too. So they say, "Oh, you're using GPS. Is that saying like American government is gonna control all the GPS?" Well, yes, but there are other positional satellite. I know they're in Europe. It's called Galileo. And in China, they call it Beidou. And there another name in Russia, probably you know, but I don't. They do have their own satellite system to using for navigation. So we don't really care which system you're going to use. We can support all of them. So as long as many of them can support, I consider it decentralized. The second is for some reason, if something happened, like in Ukraine, for example, your hometown, if there is a war, the probably some kind of military action happening in that area. There will be some interference coming from the military purpose. Their GPS would be interference, so the GPS will no longer work. But so far, I only can see this only happen in some very small area in the world. Since we are decentralized, as long as the majority of the surface of the Earth can still get the correct signal, the whole T project will be running without any problem. You consider this is exactly the same sequence of the internet disconnected in some country, some area. It happens, but it will not affect the whole system run because we are fully decentralized. We don't really care a small area or small a country that the DPS is not working. Doesn't matter. Doesn't affect the whole system.